Alright, what's up everybody? It's me, Insanity, here back for Echo Asylum Radio, and I have the honor and privilege of interviewing the man, Kirk from Crowbar. How's it going today, brother?
Going good, thanks, bro.
How's the bird been treating you on this tour so far?
Good. Now that we're heading further north, you know, it should start getting better.
Oh, yeah.
It just depends, you know, it's hit and miss, but it's been good.
Yeah, man. I heard...
kick ass every night, so that's what we're here for.
Yeah, man. How did the whole tour work out as far as development with getting Unearthed and Black Crown Initiate on tour with you guys?
Actually, well, we know the Unearthed guys for quite a while, and actually all three bands are on E1.
Yeah.
Same labels, so that's kind of how it got put together. Same booking agent, and same labels.
That's kind of cool. It's kind of a different all metal, but it's kind of a little bit of different groove with everything.
It's better to do when you do packages to have different. You know, I mean, if every band sounds exactly the same, it's kind of pointless.
It's watered down, and people just kind of start getting bored of it. You know.
So you have three completely different bands, which helps out the package for sure.
Definitely. So I heard Black Crown had some travel issues. Their van broke down. How was that? How was it dealing with that as a tour? Did that really make it difficult touring?
I mean, not difficult. It just made it really where, you know, certain nights we were going on really early. Certain nights they didn't know what to do. You know, trying to get extra local bands, things like that, to fill in for it. So, I mean, in a perfect world, I would have been able to make it, you know, to the 5 shows that they unfortunately missed. But it's not a perfect world. So they're here today. We're happy to have them.
Yeah,
course, so
definitely. The touring woes sometimes, you know, unexpected happens.
Shit happens. You know, that's just all there is to it.
Hopefully the fans understand that. So
absolutely.
And let me go ahead and congratulate you guys on that Symmetry in Black. I got to review it. It was an amazing album. I mean,
awesome,
nothing. I would expect nothing less from you guys, because you guys, I mean, you guys are just have a reputation of being like one of the biggest bands in the world, basically. And how did that whole album come about? Like when you guys had the concept for it, where were you guys trying to go with the emotion and the feel of the album?
Basically, Crowbar 25 years later. It's like went back and listened to a lot of, you know, we listened to some of the older stuff and started bringing in a lot of our older influences. Excuse me, I'm old.
I understand, man. I'm
almost
busy day. Oh, there you go.
But no, I think we wanted to just take everything that Crowbar's about and throw some new shit in as well. You know, it's kind of like with each record that we do, we bring in a few new elements because we all listen to so many different styles of music. You know, our listening, you know, choices are so diverse that, you know, we bring in little elements of things that, you know, to try to freshen up each record. We don't want to make the same record over and over again, but we want it to be killer. We want it to be fresh at the same time. It's got to be Crowbar, you know. So we feel really proud of Symmetry in Black, and we think we accomplished, you know, capturing what Crowbar's about. But it's a 20, like I say, it's Crowbar 25 years later. It's more mature. To me, the songwriting is stronger. You know, the hooks in the choruses are better. The vocals are better. The production is amazing. So you know, we just try to. We don't want to rest on our laurels and be a nostalgia type band and only play our, you know, the older stuff and all. We want to continue to make kick-ass records, every one that we put out, and, you know, increase our fan base. I mean, it's amazing how many. I had a guy the other day that was like, man, I've only, you know, kind of a young guy. He's like, I've only heard of you, man, for like the last 2 years.
Wow.
But I said, man, I love to hear that. That's what we're doing this for. We're not, you know, we're not just trying to preach to the choir. You know, it's like we want to bring new fans as well. You know, we want Unearthed fans and Black Crown's fans to come see Crowbar. They might not be a fan, but when they leave, we want them to be a fan.
Yeah, so. I could imagine your live show. I'm really looking forward to seeing guys perform. I guess night in and night out as these tours go on, I mean, does it get harder to put all the energy out there, or is it just something where, because you love it so much, you got such a passion that it just kind of comes out?
One of them things, you know, when it's time, and we're always 100% ready. I mean, regardless if we're, you know, not feeling well or tired or burned out or whatever it might be, that's no excuse. It's like you know, I approach it like a football game. I mean, you need to be mentally prepared. You know, you might not be physically 100%, but, you know, because it is very hard touring, and we don't take days off.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're doing 15 shows in 15 cities in 15 nights. Yeah. So it's, you know, it is taxing on your body, but what you do is get as much rest as possible, and, you know, you take your vitamins.
Oh yeah, definitely. You gotta take those as you get older. We get older and all our bones and achy and shit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So for the new album, was it you know, with all the changes and the in the genres and what's popular in music as far as metal. I mean, there's a lot of these sub genres.
Oh yeah.
Did you guys find it? I mean, difficult to say balance between, like you said, the older stuff, but was it define elements of newer metal to throw in there? Or was it something you guys experimented on and found something that worked?
No, I mean, I haven't been inspired by anything newer than the first Typo Negative record, Slow, Deep, and Hard. So that was like in 1990 or something, I think, or 91.
Yeah.
So that was, actually, we listened to a lot of Typo during the writing process of this for some reason. And not that it shows necessarily, but that was just one of the things I had listened to them as much, in the last few years, and then for some reason that seemed to be one of the things we were listening to a lot. If we were out at a bar or whatever, we played Typo every night. But no, I mean, we don't follow the genre. I mean, and it's not what would the word be? I'm not being arrogant. It's just I don't really keep up. I can't tell you who sounds like what genres what. I just don't know. I mean, I still listen to Thin Lizzy and Saxon.
Oh yeah, I noticed the tattoo actually, Thin Lizzy tattoo. I noticed that. That's pretty badass.
I mean, when we're at the bar, we play Rainbow, Deep Purple, Saxon, Motorhead, Thin Lizzy.
The good shit, man. The good shit.
MSG, Michael Schenker Group, Scorpions, Dio and King Diamond and whatever, So we're definitely, to me, the whole genre and subgenre thing is just crazy.
It is crazy.
If you ask me what Crowbar is, we're heavy music.
Yeah.
We're not sludge. We're not doomcore. We're not whatever. We're Crowbar.
I was actually going to ask you that question about the sludge because I know that you guys have your roots. Part of the quote unquote New Orleans sludge metal movement. I mean, you guys basically created, I guess unintentionally, you created a whole subgenre, not really a subgenre, but a whole buzz and a whole revolutionary type. I mean, how does it feel for you guys looking back 25 years later and saying, man, look at bands like Down and acid bands like that? I mean, how does it feel for you personally to know that you've influenced a whole kind of revolution in music?
I mean, proud of course, I think, the thing is, and it's a weird thing, and everybody from all the bands in New Orleans, if you take Crowbar and Down and I Hate God and Goat Whore and Acid Bath and Soylent Green, I mean, that's your main ones. Mm-hmm. It's weird because nobody sounds like, none of the bands sound alike, but they all have some element that none of us really can put our finger on. We can't describe. We always joke it's just something in the water. It's like, and to me, a lot of it is probably subconsciously being influenced by the New Orleans sound and the whole vibe of it. I mean, you grow up listening on the radio. Like when my mom and dad would play records, a lot of the shit was New Orleans stuff. It was Dr. John, Fats Domino, and shit that they grew up on. And then from their era, but there were so many popular New Orleans bands back, in those days. And it's like, I mean, in my opinion, the best drummers are from New Orleans. As far as laying down a groove and giving a beat, other than John Bonham, of course.
Yeah.
But I'm not talking about technical shit. I'm talking about keeping a beat, playing behind the beat, playing funk. I mean, when you see guys like Mean Willie Green from the Neville Brothers, like Stan Moore and shit. When you see him, doing the funk stuff behind the beat groove stuff, it's just like that's New Orleans. So we kind of have an element to that in the groove of our music. We're not a lot of the more technical bands are, to me, are it's tight as fuck, and this is no disrespect at all, but it's missing a groove. There is no groove. It's perfect. It's so it's mechanical, and that's just that's great, but that's just not what we're going for. We want it to be organic, and we want it to be tight as fuck, but we want it to groove. We want like the tempo of the song. I call it shifting gears. We like to shift gears. If we're playing a faster part and we go into a slow part, if you put a metronome to it, we're probably way behind the metronome when we go slow.
That's
we
awesome.
shift, we downshift.
That's what I love about your music, man.
Gear.
That's what I love about it.
So it actually moves back and forth, And it's the same thing with most of the New Orleans bands, of our genres, so to speak. But I think you know, it's weird, like the sludge thing, everybody calls it sludge, whatever. We didn't make that up, the press did. You know, same thing with the doomcore thing and whatever. And, you know, like Mike Nine from I Hate God said, he goes, I don't like, you know, when they call I Hate God sludge, he goes, to me it's just rock and roll.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I don't think Crowbar is necessarily a rock and roll band, but we're just heavy music.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm inspired and influenced by rock and roll bands because that's what I grew up on when I was a kid. I mean, you know, even Sabbath, who were probably, I guess, technically the first heavy metal band, started out at the first record's blues. You know, it really is. It's just heavy. So it's like, you know, I just think, you know, we soak up everything we listen to from our surroundings and everywhere else. We're fans, like I say, of all kind of music, all of us. So the mixture of all of our influences make us unique and special.
That really comes out in your music too, because you guys have a certain uniqueness that it's not just cookie cutter. It's not just the same thing. Like you said, you're not trying to write the same album. And I think that really, I mean, Symmetry in Black, like I said, it was just a masterpiece of an album. I gave it very high reviews, and it was really well written, and I could tell you know, lyrically and stuff. I mean, it was very well thought out, and it's not. You can tell you're not just making material just for the sake of having an album come out.
No, I mean, so you know, you hate to say it, but I mean, some bands do as they get older. They'll put out a record as an excuse to go on tour. You know, and it's like, you know, as big a fan as I am of Kiss, and actually, you know, after reading Paul Stanley's book, I have a whole new insight on why they really, you know, why they have Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer in Kiss, and I do agree with Gene and Paul that at this point they probably do belong in Kiss, even though Ace is my favorite, you know, character and member.
Yeah.
But you know, with a band like Kiss, it's like, honestly, I wish that they would quit making records, because I haven't liked the last couple of records that they've done. I mean, I understand they want to make new music, but Jesus, the guys are getting into that, you know, close to mid-60s now, and it's like, let's be honest, I mean, for the most part, the people are here to see, you know, they want to hear Detroit Rock City, Rock and Roll All Night,
yeah,
you know, fucking She, whatever, you know, God of Thunder, you know what I mean, Shout It Out Loud.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they're not buying the tickets to hear, you know, the songs off the new record, and it's kind of like an excuse, like I was saying, to just, not that it's not, you know, it's just my opinion, doesn't mean shit, but, you know, to me, I think they should just continue to do the classic Kiss stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Don't wear out a good thing, you know.
Right. I mean, it's like there's nothing, you know, when you put out as many albums as any of these bands, you know. I mean, the thing is, there are a lot of bands that have been around a long time that are putting out amazing records, you know, like Exodus and Testament, and you know, a lot of bands that were very popular and kind of died down and are popular again. Well, you know why? Because, I mean, this, you know, it is nostalgia to a degree, but they're also putting out records that are fucking amazing, you know. So it's like we want to be one of those bands, you know. We don't want to, you know, live off of anything we've done in the past. We want to continue to build the audience of Crowbar and look forward. We don't have really mirrors on our fucking car. Just go look forward and roll, you know. That's
great. I like to hear that outlook, especially, you know, you guys have been, like I said, you were pioneers for a whole genre. I mean, for a whole subgenre and everything. Let me change the subject here. A few months back, you know, I think it was shortly after Symmetry in Black was released, there was a whole, you know, big thing where, you know, you were on stage and a fan tried to run up and you kicked him in the head, and I felt like you were unfairly villainized by the media and people saying, well, he's just an asshole. But really, I think that, you know, I don't think people really remember you know, they don't think back to Dimebag where the guy just ran on stage. I mean, as you when that happened, I mean, is that something, this instinct where you just, you know, trying to defend yourself, or what was the whole thing behind that?
Well, I kept shut about it. You know, kept shut for a while, whatever, about the incident, and just called it an unfortunate incident, and it is. But this is my perspective. We just finished playing in July the This Is Hardcore show in Philly. They don't even have monitors. The stage is this big on purpose. You know, we know it's a hardcore show. We played all of our fastest, you know, most aggressive songs. The second we hit the first note, there's 20 people on stage and doing flips up the stage. That's fine, because it's that kind of show. The show we played at, and where that unfortunate incident happened, was no stage diving, no, you know, crowd surfing. The fucking barricade was from here past that wall from the stage So we're in an environment like a festival. When you're in a festival, people are not. You don't expect people to be on stage, and you know, when I look back at the video, I can see the point is people. Only I know what I saw and what I thought, which was when I had my eyes closed and I was singing and I got hit and didn't get hit hard, it didn't hurt bad, it shocked me. But when I looked down and saw that the security guy had tackled the kid, all I thought of was this kid was trying to fucking attack me or whatever. Yeah. And believe me, I didn't exactly strap on a fucking Tom Dempsey cleat from 1970 and kick his fucking teeth in. It was kind of like, you stupid fucking asshole. But after seeing it, I understand why people got aggravated, because they got a kid jumping up and down. A security guard came out like fucking Ray Lewis and tackled a kid and flew 10 yards into me. But I'm thinking, and keep in mind, we're playing Al Rosa Villa the next night. The next night we're playing the place that this happened at time. Yeah. So, you know, ever since that happened, and it's weird at Al Rosa. I mean, we'll play it again. We played it twice, but it's a weird, creepy kind of feeling to us, you know. And you know, we're playing that the next night. I'm not using that for an excuse. The point is, in all honesty, you know, it was not a stage diving type of show. We welcome that. A place like tonight, come on. The stage is this tall. There's no barricade. Help yourself. You know, do your best not to knock into the musicians. Don't break the show. Right. But I mean, other than that, you know, whatever. But you know, it's really it's one of those things. It's no different. You know, when it's a show, and we know it's a smaller stage, no barricade, no security type thing or whatever, then they're going to do what they want to do, and we're cool with that. But in this particular thing, it was the exact opposite of that. It was a high stage with a barricade about 5 or 6 feet away with security guys everywhere. So you don't expect it. He wasn't supposed to be on stage, bottom line. And to be honest, he probably got up there, jumped up and down a little bit, and said, "Oh fuck, what do I do now?" If he would have dove, he would have hurt himself or somebody else really bad, because it wasn't like he wasn't just on a stage like tonight where people can help me right back in the crowd and do that. Be fucking Greg Louganis or something, you know. Dive out there.
I just want to clear that, because I thought I had a lot of people, you know, because I just actually reviewed the album when this happened. Yeah. And people were saying, "Oh, you reviewed Crowbar," and then, you know, everybody. I feel you're unfairly villainized. I wanted to just, you know, bring that up.
People love gossip and drama.
That is true. It wouldn't be the industry if people weren't talking something about somebody. But
and you know what it is everybody's is very brave behind the keys of their computer.
I call it fake tough guys. That's what I said. That's what I said to Andy. I said fake tough guys. They don't understand the shit, and they just say, well, they just run off at the mouth, because they have nobody's really there to you know, say, hey, you know, stand up to you or whatever. It just behind a keyboard.
Right. I mean, I'm not sitting there acting tough. I'm just saying, you know, if you instead of calling me an asshole, why don't you let me explain the situation from my point of view, which I was not allowed to do. Yeah. Because it would have caused more shit. So I just let it fade away, and just like everything else, it does fade away, because something else happens and the news takes over. But I mean, there's certain things, you know, like Blabbermouth and a lot of these things that they thrive on all this gossip. Yeah. You know, and it's a lot of the people that post on there constantly are, you know, what we call them trolls or haters. So all they do is look around and try to find something to bash some band, and I always feel like, oh, well, how, you know what? Hey, at least, oh, they were terrible at their show in fucking London. Well, guess what? At least I'm playing in London. Where's your band playing? Your fucking mom's garage?
There you go, man. You got a good outlook, I guess doing it as long as you have.
You know, you got to kind of just take it. And shit, yeah. I mean, it's not, I didn't get upset. I mean, it did, you know, I tried not to get involved with it. It was one of them things. It happens, you know. I mean, the thing is in this day and age and with technology, what happened there has happened 1,000 times in the past, where people are on stage that didn't belong there, and whatever, got a little nudge. Yeah. But now, you know, you can't take a piss without a camera.
Everything's magnified because of fucking Twitter and Instagram. Man, look at this.
So I mean, it's like stuff, you know. I mean, in the old days, you know, guys used to fight. I mean, you jump on stage, you know, at a fucking Who show or something, Pete Thompson would crack you over the fucking head with his guitar.
There you go.
You know, whatever.
The good old days.
Yeah. It's like the Mike Curtis tackle on the Fan. Mike Curtis used to play for the Baltimore, when it was the Baltimore Colts. Some guys ran on the field, a guy was a linebacker for the Colts or whatever, ran out and fucking knocked the living fuck out of it. Now that guy would get sued, fined, you know, kicked out of the NFL and everything else. But it's like
he broke his arm.
some fucking dude running on the field that doesn't belong there. Well, whatever.
Yep, there you go, man. Let me ask you one more question before I get all your links and stuff. I want to go back to recently. We had the tragic passing of Wayne Static.
Yes.
Personally, I mean, what do you remember about him, and how did that hit you? The news that he passed. How did that news hit you?
Well, the thing is, like, it's a very, very, very few people know that Wayne Wells is his real name. Actually flew from. He was living in Chicago at the time to New Orleans back between. Like the Obedience Who's Suffering and Crowbar Records, he flew himself to New Orleans and stayed with me to try out for Crowbar.
Oh, really? Wow.
Back in like '92 or something, right before we got Matt Thomas in, and we never really stayed in touch that much. But I remember him moving to LA before he even started Static X. But I mean, I've known him that long. I actually turned him on to Slow Deep and Hard Typo. It was like my favorite record at the time. It was well before Bloody Kisses even came out. And he had never heard of him, we were sitting in the car listening. I remember doing that, But I remember jamming with him, and he was a great player, really nice guy. And, I was just like, I'm like, dude, the problem is you live in Chicago. I mean, Jesus, we definitely couldn't afford it back then to be flying him in, in and out.
Yeah.
And whatnot. I mean, we had Steve Gibb in the band for quite a while, and he's one of our closest friends. But, he lived in Miami and was able to, and this was much later on when we got Steve. But at the time, we were a brand new band, basically. So I told Wayne, I'm like, dude, you're a killer, you're a great guy, but it's just not going to work. It's not, if you lived 10 minutes from here, you'd be in.
Yeah.
Right? So it did, it was really sad. Last time I saw him, Static X supported 2 shows with Down in Dublin, Ireland in like 2009. And I saw him there. And he was fine. It was just kind of a shock, But I mean, I've known him since like I say, he'd come see Crowbar when we'd be in the LA area, and I remember when he, first started wearing his hair that way and whatnot, and I've, seen him on Ozfest and, played shows here and there with him, festivals and stuff over the years, so it was really sad to hear about that.
Yeah, and I thought that the media jumping to the conclusions and Jacoby Shattuck saying, it was just drugs. They instantly go into that.
Everybody goes.
I was trying to, I was the defender there. I was like, hey, media will get the press releases when we get it, but just stop saying it was drugs because nobody, even the publicist doesn't know what.
Right.
I think the thing was he died in his sleep. I think natural causes. I think it was, but I mean, he was kind of young though, man. He was really young.
Right around my age, right? But I don't want to jinx myself. But no, people. It's one of those things. If you're an entertainer and you die, you can be even an actor, actress, whatever, musician, whatever. It might automatically it's drugs.
Yeah, it's got to be drugs because he plays a lot of music and has a weird haircut and that's.
If you're in a car wreck, automatically you go drunk.
Yeah, it's like it's sad how people jump to that conclusion. But I just want to get your take on that because I haven't had a chance
to hear about it.
I was really.
Known Wayne. We're never close, but I've known him a long time, and I was happy for him with the success that he had with Static X.
And then the solo project he was doing.
I was always pulling for him on the side, kind of, so to speak, because he's a really nice guy.
Had a weird kind of music. I mean, the music was really cool because it kind of opened me up to different kind of music. It's kind of mixing the backing tracks with all that other stuff. Right. It was just really cool stuff they had, man. But let's go ahead and get your links. I didn't realize we've been talking this long about it. It's cool, man. I need to get your. Let's get your links for Crowbar. Tell people where they can find you, where they can buy your music.
Mama? Oh, she's in the bathroom. Well, the Crowbar Facebook page is. I mean, that's linked up to the Twitter.
Okay.
Which I think the Twitter is at Crowbar Rules. Is it? Yeah, at Crowbar Rules. Basically, as far as getting the record, I mean, we use go to martyrstore. Is it .org? .net. Okay, martyrstore.net, and they should have links. Or E1 is our label, so
iTunes.
Yeah, iTunes, right?
Yeah, go check them out. Go check out this band. They've been rocking for 25 years, and great bunch of dudes. Awesome, and they've influenced me in my musical journey. And got me into the stuff. So I appreciate your time, Kirk, man.
Thank you.
You're an idol, man. You're an idol, man. You're in the middle, man. So this has been Insanity here with the amazing Kirk from Crowbar. And until next time, rockers, keep it metal.